Welcome back to the Platform Engineering Playbook podcast. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Alex. Today we're tackling a topic that's causing anxiety in platform engineering teams everywhere: Backstage adoption.
Specifically, the 10% problem.
Right. Your team spends 9 months implementing Backstage. The portal looks beautiful. You have 47 services cataloged. And internal adoption? 8%. 3 developers use it regularly.
That's painful. And apparently it's not uncommon?
It's actually documented. Spotify's VP of Engineering has publicly acknowledged that while Backstage adoption is high internally at Spotify, it often stalls at less than 10% in other organizations.
So this isn't just anecdotal complaining on Hacker News. This is a real, acknowledged problem.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that the 2025 Gartner Market Guide for Internal Developer Portals specifically calls out that the market now favors IDPs that deliver immediate value and faster ROI. Backstage implementations that can't prove value quickly are facing existential threats.
Let's talk about cost first, because I think people underestimate what Backstage actually requires. What's the real investment?
For a mid-size organization with 300 developers, year one costs about $1.05 million. That's 7 FTEs, 1 PM, 2 front-end engineers, 2 full-stack engineers, 2 DevOps engineers, all at around $150,000 per year.
And that's just year one.
Year 2 and ongoing, you're looking at $900,000 per year, 4 FTEs for development, 2 FTEs for maintenance, and platform management.
So organizations that think they can get positive ROI from Backstage with just 1 or 2 engineers
Have unrealistic expectations. At Spotify, with 1,600 engineers, there was a full-time team of 4 engineers working on their IDP. For an organization with 300 developers, you need between 7 and 15 engineers to extract value from Backstage.
Why does it require so much investment?
Technical complexity. Backstage isn't a product, it's a framework that requires product development. You've got 70-plus steps to basic setup, over 100 plugins to evaluate, React plus Node plus TypeScript required. Most backend engineers don't have those skills.
So your platform team becomes a bottleneck.
Exactly. And then there's the data quality death spiral. Backstage never fully addressed the fundamental challenge of trusted, always up-to-date data. The catalog's data can quickly become stale and untrustworthy. Engineers don't trust stale data, so they don't update the catalog. Data gets staler, adoption drops further, and leadership questions the investment.
That's a vicious cycle. What about the plugin ecosystem? Isn't that supposed to be a strength?
It's actually a problem. Too much extensibility becomes overwhelming. Which plugins should we use? How do we configure authentication? What's the right deployment architecture? Teams get stuck in proof-of-concept limbo.
So when should an organization actually use Backstage?
You need to meet all of these criteria. 500-plus engineers minimum. Strong React and TypeScript skills. 7 to 15 dedicated FTEs. Service catalog discipline already exists. Backstage won't create discipline, it requires it. A 3 to 5 year investment timeline. And unique customization needs where Backstage's flexibility actually pays off.
That's a pretty narrow window.
It is. If you have fewer than 500 engineers, limited front-end skills, need fast time to value in under 6 months, can't dedicate 7-plus FTEs, or don't have an existing service catalog, you should probably choose alternatives.
Let's talk about those alternatives. What's out there?
Port.io, Cortex, and custom portals are the main ones. Port is interesting. Implementation is about 4 times faster than Backstage on average. You can get to meaningful adoption in 1 to 3 months with just half an FTE to 1 FTE.
Annual cost is $50,000 to $200,000 versus Backstage's $900,000 plus.
That's a massive difference.
The trade-off is customization. Port has limited customization through a UI builder, but it's no code. You don't need React or TypeScript skills. It's a bring-your-own-data model approach, fully flexible but without the complexity.
What about Cortex?
Cortex is in the middle. 2 to 4 months time to value, 1 to 2 FTEs required, $40,000 to $150,000 annual cost. It's more focused on service catalog and maturity tracking. Semi-rigid data model, some entities are fixed and can't be changed. A good fit for 200 to 1,000 engineers who want less flexibility than Port, but more structure than a custom build.
And custom portals?
3 to 6 months, 2 to 5 FTEs, $300,000 to $750,000 per year. You get full control over your stack and dependencies, perfect for unique needs or when you already have internal tools. The trade-off is you're building everything from scratch.
What about adoption rates? Are these alternatives actually better?
Yes. Backstage averages 10% adoption. That's the problem we're discussing. Port typically sees 40 to 60% adoption. Cortex, 30 to 50%. Custom portals vary from 30 to 70%, depending on how well they're built.
So the alternatives not only cost less and require fewer people, they also get better adoption?
In most cases, yes, because they're purpose-built for the problem, not frameworks requiring assembly. The faster time to value means teams can iterate and respond to feedback quickly.
Let's say someone's already committed to Backstage. What should they do?
Radically simplify. Start with software catalog only. No tech docs initially, no scaffolder, no fancy plugins, just the catalog. Use managed Backstage like Roadie to reduce ops burden. Limit to 5 critical plugins maximum. GitHub integration, Kubernetes visibility, PagerDuty, Datadog. That's it. Dedicate 4 to 7 FTE minimum and accept a 12 to 18-month timeline to 30% adoption.
30%, not 10%.
Right. If you're aiming for 10%, you're accepting failure. 30% should be your success metric, along with under 5-second page load time, 99.9% uptime, and under 2% stale catalog data.
You mentioned Roadie, the managed Backstage option. How does that help?
Roadie handles upgrades, security patches, infrastructure. It costs around $50,000 to $150,000 per year, but it saves you 2 to 4 FTEs. So instead of 7 to 15 FTEs for self-hosted Backstage, you might need 4 to 7 FTEs with Roadie.
Still significant, but better.
Exactly. You're trading money for reduced complexity. For teams that are committed to Backstage but don't have the ops capacity, it's the right move.
What if a team is stuck at 10% adoption? What should they do?
Set a 6-month deadline. Audit what's working, which teams use it and why. Simplify radically. Cut plugins to 5 max. Fix data quality. Make the catalog trustworthy. Add exec-level metrics to get leadership buy-in. If you miss that deadline for 30% adoption, switch to an alternative.
Don't fall for sunk cost fallacy.
Exactly. 9 months invested doesn't mean you should invest 9 more. Sometimes the best decision is to pivot.
What about teams that are evaluating options right now? What should they do?
Run parallel proof of concepts. Week 1 and 2, deploy Port with one team. Week 3 and 4, deploy Cortex with another team. Week 5 and 6, build a custom MVP with a third team. Week 7 and 8, evaluate adoption, developer feedback, and cost. Whatever gets you to 30% adoption fastest wins.
Let me play devil's advocate. Backstage has 28,000 GitHub stars. It's CNCF incubating. It has massive mind share. Why not just use it?
Mindshare doesn't equal adoption. GitHub stars don't equal business value. Backstage is an incredible achievement. Spotify built something powerful and open-sourced it. But it's optimized for Spotify's scale and Spotify's engineering culture. Most organizations aren't Spotify.
And trying to be Spotify when you're not Spotify is a recipe for failure.
Precisely. The honest questions every organization needs to ask. Do we have 7 to 15 FTE available for 18 to 24 months? Does our engineering team have strong React and TypeScript skills? Does our service catalog already exist with ownership discipline? Do we have executive sponsorship and multi-year commitment? Can we accept an 18 to 24-month timeline to 30% adoption? If any answer is no, Backstage is the wrong choice.
What about breaking changes? I've heard Backstage has frequent breaking changes.
A major version every 6 to 12 months. That's part of why you need dedicated FTEs. Someone has to manage those upgrades. Commercial alternatives like Port and Cortex are managed services, so breaking changes are their problem, not yours.
That's a hidden cost people don't think about.
Absolutely. It's not just building Backstage, it's maintaining Backstage through constant evolution. The React and Node ecosystems move fast. Backstage moves fast. You need teams that can keep up.
Let's talk about some real examples. You mentioned a success story, 500-person company, 5 FTE team, 18-month timeline, 50% adoption. What made that work?
Dedicated team with clear ownership, simplified scope. They focused on 5 core use cases instead of trying to do everything. Executive sponsorship from the VP of Engineering, which gave them political cover during the long timeline. Managed Backstage through Roadie, which reduced ops burden. And realistic expectations from day one. They weren't aiming for 100% adoption in 6 months.
And the failure story?
150-person company, 2 FTE team, 12-month timeline. Self-hosted Backstage. Attempted 20-plus plugin integrations. No executive sponsorship. Result? 8% adoption after 12 months, 12-plus second page load times, 95% uptime with frequent issues, 15% stale catalog data. They abandon it for Port.
What was the key lesson from that failure?
Team too small, scope too large, no exact buy-in. They were set up to fail from the start. 2 FTEs can't maintain production Backstage while also building new features and handling support requests.
It's interesting that the alternatives like Port and Cortex can work with half an FTE to 2 FTEs, but Backstage needs 7 to 15.
That's the framework versus product distinction. Port and Cortex are products. They work out of the box. Backstage is a framework. You have to build the product using the framework. Fundamentally different value propositions.
So the decision really comes down to, do you want to build a developer portal or do you want to buy a developer portal?
That's a great way to frame it. If you want to build, you have the team, the skills, the timeline, the budget. Backstage gives you incredible flexibility. If you want to buy, you need value fast, you have limited resources, you want someone else to handle maintenance, go with Port or Cortex.
And custom portals are for organizations that already have internal tools and want full control.
Right. If you already have an internal tools platform, adding a developer portal might be straightforward. You know your systems, you control the stack, you can move fast. But you're starting from zero in terms of features.
Final question. 3 years from now, what does the developer portal landscape look like?
I think we'll see consolidation. Port, Cortex, and a few others will dominate the commercial space. Backstage will still exist, but primarily at very large organizations. The Spotifys, the Netflixes, the companies with hundreds of engineers who can dedicate large teams. And we'll see more custom solutions using modern frameworks that are easier to build with than React and TypeScript.
The barrier to entry for custom solutions is dropping.
Exactly. With tools like Next.js, Remix, and serverless architectures, building a simple internal portal is much easier than it was 5 years ago. You might not need Backstage's complexity, and you might not want to pay for a commercial solution. A small team can build something fit for purpose in a reasonable timeline.
So the message is be honest about what you need, be honest about what you have, and choose the path that gets you to meaningful adoption fastest.
That's it. The goal isn't to use Backstage. The goal is developer portal adoption. Whatever path gets you there is the right path.
Great discussion. Where can people learn more?
The full blog post with all the data, comparison tables, and decision frameworks is on platform-engineering-playbook.com. We've got cost calculators, case studies, and links to all the alternatives we discussed.
And if you're struggling with Backstage adoption right now, you're not alone. The 10% problem is real. It's documented, and there are solutions.
Thanks for listening to the Platform Engineering Playbook podcast.
We'll see you next time.